Y'all already know what time it is. Shedeur Sanders is going to the Pro Bowl. I'm on every platform with that. I'm like, that's just my new soundbite. Shedeur Sanders is going to the Pro Bowl. I'm so excited, so excited, so excited, so excited. Okay, so I put together a good show tonight. Y'all know I keep everything. Well, not everything, but I kept a lot from the draft, right? I kept a lot from the draft. And we're gonna take a look at the journey, right? Some things. And why is it so exciting that Shedeur Sanders made it to the Pro Bowl? Because the NFL, according to Mel Kiper Jr., and I still got the recording, didn't want Shedeur Sanders and quarterbacks like Shedeur Sanders, and yet Shedeur Sanders made it to the Pro Bowl. So that's huge. That's huge. That means despite Kevin Stefanski, right? Despite the owner, I didn't want him in his reckless words, right? Despite it all, he still made it. People are pointing out all sorts of kind of things, all kind of records that have been broken, etc. Yes, Shedeur and his father, both legendary, both made it to the Pro Bowl. Shedeur as a rookie. So Shedeur is doing something that Coach Prime did not as a rookie. And I looked it up. Coach Prime had been like 6 or 7 times. I think he dominated the 90s as a first team all-pro, I guess, in his position, or 6-time all-pro. I think that's the way they said it. He only missed like 1995. He was there for every year from 91 to 99 with missing 1 year. So maybe that is 6 years, right? So Coach Prime is a legend, right? Coach Prime earned his legendary status, and Shedeur is already earning his. Now, y'all know Shedeur Sanders. I want people to understand something, right? I want people to understand that this young man survived a smear campaign. And that's really what it was. And he was on his way. They're on their way. As he's going into his second season, they were already started in with the smear campaign. Now, y'all know in the draft, they tried to drag down his legendary father. One of the teams that Coach Prime went to the Pro Bowl for was the Falcons, right? And this is how the Falcons repay Coach Prime. This is how the Falcons welcome Shedeur Sanders to the NFL. And then this is how the Falcons show gratitude to the fan base. You know, this forsake the fan base and hired Kevin Stefanski, who abused Shedeur. And people are wondering why it is, I guess you could say, candidates for the head coaching job are withdrawing left and right. Don't nobody want to be Stefanski 2.0. I said that. I said you're gonna have to keep him, because nobody else is going to embarrass their family. Nobody else is going to tarnish their reputation. Nobody else is going to go on the record creating or completing criminal activity to derail a black quarterback after they derailed a black quarterback before that, and after they derailed nothing but black quarterbacks, and puts Baker Mayfield out the way so they could get a clean shot at Deshaun Watson. Stefanski failed to build chemistry with the black quarterbacks in Cleveland. Nobody wants the job to do that. And it's already known in the higher up circle that the Browns will be the Browns as long as the owner is the owner. So why they don't kick him out? Wasn't he reckless with his words? He wasn't my pick. Andrew Berry has 3 2025 rookies in the Pro Bowl, and they trying to fire him. Yeah, that's why I said go watch the video. If you watch the video, you will see they already working on pushing Andrew Berry out. And they're trying to say the 2 finalists for the job is a biracial black man and Schwartz. Schwartz was hired by Stefanski. They ain't nobody stupid here. If it's Schwartz, the Browns have some explaining to do. Because you said you could have won more than 5 games, but you didn't fire Kevin Stefanski. You left him there, negligently so, to abuse Shedeur Sanders, and then you're going to turn around and hire Schwartz, who was hired by Stefanski. Bro, we see the play. It's the owner that has to go. And when the conversation shifts toward the owner, then maybe things will change. But somebody about to take the fall for why Shedeur Sanders was 144. Remember, Shedeur Sanders was a Jim Thorpe winner. You had to be good to get that. They don't just hand those out. And since they were handing them out, and we're in an era of anti-blackness, I'm pretty sure he wouldn't have just have received it just because. He earned it. And the smear campaign started at Colorado. Uh-huh. So when all of those scouts kept coming out to Colorado, the smear campaign had already started. People don't like Shedeur. That's a lie. People didn't want Shedeur to put up 500 yards in the NFL. How many did he put up? Was it against the Titans? Which was an elimination game because Shedeur Sanders got them into the hunt for the playoffs. And Kevin Stefanski made sure they got the hell out. And the owner left Kevin Stefanski there to make sure they didn't get to the playoffs. The owner's the problem. Oh, yes, Stefanski's definitely the problem because he chose to commit the corruption, the intimidation, the coercion, the retaliation, firing the Tony Brown because he showed support for Shedeur. And they want to bring that clown circus to Atlanta. Good luck with that. Shedeur Sanders has sustained something most of us would have not had. That's just what it is. And we are celebrating him tonight because he made it to the Pro Bowl. And people are upset. One person had the audacity, supposedly they were a 3-time Pro Bowler, to say, well, it used to be a badge of honor to make it to the Pro Bowl. I'm like, who the hell are you? See, people from an era where people don't even know who the hell they are got something to say because when they were in the league, there were no black quarterbacks, or there was only maybe 1 or 2, and they weren't the starters. So people from that bygone era are upset that Shedeur Sanders was pushed down in the draft, plotted against, colluded against, and still made it to the Pro Bowl. So you mad at Guy? Because look at Guy. See, it's people like that. It's too many people like this associated with this league, which is why I can't watch it. Is Shedeur going to be there? Because if not, we want good people. We want elite, competitive quarterback play. We want to see the 50 to 60-yard bombs down the field. We're not in for your check down kings. Shedeur Sanders was pushed aside and pushed down for Jackson Dart and Tyler Shaw, and neither of them are Rookie of the Year. Shout out to Tech McMillan because he won Offensive Rookie of the Year and overall Rookie of the Year. Tech McMillan. And that's who should have won it. So Shedeur Sanders was pushed aside for 2 quarterbacks. One is the check down king and was propped up, given the easiest stretch of the game. Shedeur was given the toughest stretch of the games and went toe-to-toe with Josh Allen. If it wasn't for number 13 who decided to throw the ball, instead of letting the kicker kick it, he wanted to throw it to the cameraman. I wonder who told him to do that. So the Browns, led by Shedeur Sanders, don't tie up the game. And remember those raggedy Wildcats? Remember those raggedy Wildcats? Just something else to derail this young man, led by Kevin Stefanski. What coach in their right mind would sign up to go and continue the abuse against Shedeur Sanders? You don't have a problem with that. You gonna have a problem with that. Would you be surprised if Schwartz signed up for it? No, because who hired him? Stefanski. So the black man that they saying who's biracial, who they say might get it, they lying. If you didn't want black quarterbacks, why would you want a black head coach? Because you're trying to fire your black GM, Andrew Berry, who has 3 rookies in the Pro Bowl. Shedeur Sanders and Harold Fanning Jr., the dynamic duo. And on defense, Carson Swessinger, who they let play hurt with the blood on his uniform so he could get there. I thought he was good anyway. I thought it was a shame they used him like that. He's good without the theatrics. He didn't need that. But then they benched Harold Fanning Jr., who walked off the field on his own because he's one half of the dynamic duo. Shedeur Sanders has already established a dynamic duo in the pros like he did at Colorado. And that's why they mad. Because he is Mr. 500. Because he damn sure was Mr. 393 yards with raggedy Wildcats and still put up 3 touchdowns. You know, Shedeur Sanders has broken all kind of records and all kind of firsts. We're going to take a look at that. He's legendary, just like his father. And if Shiloh hadn't been baited in, he would also be legendary. But that's why he was kicked out. And that's why they try to kick Shedeur out. To come out and say you don't want quarterbacks like Shedeur Sanders before the combine and invite him only to humiliate him and pick his pockets for $46 million, somebody got some explaining to do. Because how the hell did he get to the Pro Bowl? The only quarterback in this draft class is the only quarterback to make it to the Pro Bowl. Explain how the hell Tyler Shaw, who was not better than Shedeur Sanders, Jackson Dart, who was not better than Shedeur Sanders, was drafted ahead of and paid well before Shedeur Sanders. Seems like it was about picking his pockets, humiliating him. Remember this? I never let it go, and it should never be let go. Shedeur Sanders is so entitled. He gonna find out what a real locker room is like. You mean the locker rooms where you intimidate the people like Wyatt Teller, Flacco, Denzel Ward, Myles Garrett, Tony Brown, who gave a damn about Shedeur and didn't like him, being him tied up to a tree and whipped like his name was supposed to be Toby and he didn't want to say it. Those players are human, and they didn't like Shedeur being treated like he was not human. Shedeur Sanders was dehumanized. That's why they can't find a coach. Nobody wants to take on that responsibility. That's why McDermott seemingly don't have a job. He wasn't fired for misconduct, was he? But he was very forthcoming about how great of a quarterback Shedeur Sanders was and how there was an uptick in the performance of the Browns when Shedeur Sanders was at the helm and he's out of a job. More intimidation. And Stefanski didn't fire. Stefanski didn't fire McDermott. McDermott has never had another interview. Stefanski got a job like that. So what is the NFL trying to say? Because the owners got together and took Shedeur off the board, one of which was over there in the Browns, who said, he wasn't my pick. There was a phone call and we had to listen. I think everybody knows who was making them calls. You had to be talked to and reminded that you needed to do the right thing. Or you needed to do what made sense. For whatever reason, and you did it. And because that happened, you decided to kick Shedeur every day he was there like he wasn't human. You tried to kick him like he was a three-legged dog, and you would actually have had more compassion for a three-legged dog. And we know this because look at how you treated Michael Vick. And then look at how you excuse Ben Roethlisberger. This is an issue as old as time. But because Shedeur has 20 million fans and counting, we just not getting to the truth. We're just not getting to see how things operate, how they truly conduct business. Seems that the good coaches like McDermott get kicked out when they like a quarterback that they took off the draft board. Why you draft him? They didn't know him before the combine. Why you invite him? So you thought the sensible thing to do was to abuse him, derail his career, try to run him off like Richie Incognito did Jonathan Martin, except for Shedeur didn't leave. Different times. Same tactics. Running off the black guy, firing only black GMs, firing Raheem Morris and hiring Kevin Stefanski, who had a worse record than Raheem Morris and who actually failed. And he failed for 6 years, and maybe except for 2 of them. But I think he actually benefited from the talents of Baker Mayfield, who they are also retaliating against because he had the audacity to tell the truth. So when you white like McDermott, or you like Baker Mayfield, and you stand up for yourself, or you stand up for a black quarterback like Wyatt Teller did, or like Flacco didn't like what was going on, you get pushed out. You have to agree to dislike black quarterbacks in order to make it. That's what it's given, because how the hell Kevin Stefanski get a job? All of that smear campaign, that was called defamation. They had to lie on Shedeur Sanders in order to push him down because he's that good. The 7 games he played in, he was only supposed to play 4, but he ended up playing 7. And Kevin Stefanski tried to make sure he wasn't available for the last few games by having his fingernail ripped off his damn finger. And this was after wristband gate. And this was after, and in addition to the Raggedy Wildcats. And after his house was robbed. I don't know why y'all think it ain't related. Look at everything they have done. Go back to the smear campaign. Coach Prime said he get 5 death threats a day because he's a black man doing something. And people don't want him to do it. Well, what the hell is Shedeur? A black quarterback that can also elevate the game. And they don't want him to. Starting at Colorado. Because this was disrespectful. That's why it says booted again. And Bucky came back and they did it again. And they cheated Shedeur out of the Heisman. He damn sure deserves to be in the Pro Bowl. This is his blessing. He had to waive off the Heisman because they didn't want Coach Prime to have 2 Heisman candidates. That's why they tried to hurt the entire program in the draft. And who is they? The scouts and the people that came to Colorado for 2 years to scout Shedeur Sanders. And then you want to have the audacity to invite him to your little flag football. While you think you're using him, you're being used. Because Shedeur still get where God want him to go. Now people are saying he might end up playing. They were talking about it on All the Smoke. The first person I thought of when he got the nod was Huntley. And they say Huntley actually played and scored a touchdown. We just happy he got selected to go. And that he said yes, because he could have said no. But it shows you that Shedeur understands what it is that's happening. That rejection by Kevin Stefanski, God took a mess and turned it into a blessing of protection because they already ripped off his fingernail. If he'd have started the season, he probably would have been like Cam Ward with 55 sacks by the time the season ends. They trying to compare, saying Shedeur went to the Pro Bowl before the #1 pick. I'm like, you need to be talking about Shedeur going to the Pro Bowl before the 2 white quarterbacks that were drafted before him, and Shedeur was better than them. Don't pitch Shedeur against Cam. Cam didn't ask to be #1. Cam was #1 because they knew they were going to snub Shedeur and Jalen Milroe. They didn't want Jalen Milroe to be #1 or #2 or in the first round, period. This was about 17-32. This was also about humiliation. And it was also devaluing black quarterbacks, which is not new. It's documented. Research has been done, extensive research. But we're beyond devaluing. We're beyond humiliation. We're talking corruption, which is why nobody wants the job in Cleveland. Why the hell would they? Who the hell is signing up to abuse Shedeur Sanders? Because we know you holding him hostage like you're doing Deshaun. If you don't want him, trade him. But no, you want to hold him hostage to draft and destroy his career and pick his pockets. Keep on. And he going to own part of that goddamn team. It's sure possible. It's called damages. And I said it before, they lucky as hell. He hadn't sued them folks because he got a case. Ask Ben Crump, who keeps talking about the situation, because he know. And we ain't talking $40 million in damages. We talking $1 billion in damages because everybody know Shedeur, like LeBron, could garner $1 billion while being active as a professional athlete. We talking serious damages here. So yeah, we happy that he gets to go to the Pro Bowl. He deserves to. This is his blessing for all that he has had endured going back to Colorado. Imagine you going to work where your parent worked. And you know a lot of his coworkers because you grew up around them. And they stab your daddy and you in the back and push your brother out. I can't imagine what that was like. I mean, I can't even fathom going up to any of my parents' workplaces And then coworkers being rude to me, let alone trying to humiliate me and mock me and make sure I don't get paid what my talent supports. I can't even fathom that because that's crazy. It's evil. And that's what happened. He gonna see what the inside of a real locker room looks like. And he's just not that good. See, that's the lie they told over and over and over. And what did they say on the facility before they show got kicked off the air? And thankfully they popped up on their own as the speakeasy. They lied to us about Shedeur. They damn sure did. And who gonna take the fall for that? Because nobody wants to take the fall in Cleveland for what Stefanski did to Shedeur. And nobody wants to sign up for what Stefanski did to Shedeur. And Schwartz is probably going to be the hire. Because if they hire the biracial black guy, he going to be the foul guy. All they trying to do is push out Andrew Berry, probably so he don't find somebody and make a trade for Shedeur. Why would you fire a successful GM? Oh, wait, that's what just happened in Atlanta. And they let Kevin Stefanski go over there, number one. Number two, bring his offensive coordinator who said, I love Jerry Jeudy. We're going to feature him more. Mind you, Jerry Jeudy leads the leagues in dropped passes. And that's who they wanted to feature because he was doing such a good job at failing. And three, they're allowing Stefanski to work with Matt Ryan to pick the GM. Now, what kind of GM you think he going to pick? And I don't mean race. I mean mentality. Somebody that has his shared mentality, that doesn't believe that black quarterbacks are worthy. Isn't the Falcons quarterback QB1 black? So they think they're going to run over to Atlanta, where Deion Sanders made this city and football team legendary, and do it again to another black quarterback. And they trying to persuade you not to give a damn about what happened to Shedeur Sanders. You can go to hell with that. You already lost that fight. You're not going to tell us who to care about. You tried it with Kaepernick, and he gave a damn about who he gave a damn about. And you blackballed him. But that's okay, because he over there doing good work independently. And you just showing the same story over and over again. You trying to Colin Kaepernick your damn fan base. So, yeah, we celebrating Shedeur going to the Pro Bowl. Matter of fact, we ain't even watching the Super Bowl. So, lucky for you, Shedeur Sanders is in the Pro Bowl. So, the Falcons basically think their fan base is stupid. Their fan base is like, isn't this the coach that tried to derail and did all that to Shedeur? Why you bring him here? After you claim in this letter that you sent out, after that so-called prank call, that you don't condone this type of behavior. Apparently you do. Because look at who you hired. So you trying to run off your black fans. Is that what you're trying to do? Because your message, your words, and your actions don't match. In this letter, you say you don't condone this kind of behavior. But you hired Stefanski, who put on a public display of dehumanization of Shedeur Sanders, trying to prove to people he can hold back a black quarterback like he was auditioning for the job in Atlanta. And y'all gave it to him within 2 weeks of him being fired. And he was fired 7 days to the day that the third suspect was arrested. And the fourth one is still on the loose. It's some orange jumpsuits being sewn up right about now for some folks. The Falcons have a lot of explaining to do. And they wanted to make sure Stefanski kept Ulbrich, whose son supposedly is the one that went in his father's company corporate issue device. Did the Falcons pay the fines into the millions that most corporations have to pay for this type of behavior? Or was this all some type of premeditated collusion? And this was just performative. The Falcons have a lot of explaining to do, as do the Browns. Because both organizations are supporting and condoning abuse and dehumanization of black quarterbacks. Shedeur Sanders and I guess incoming Michael Penix Jr. We're not standing for that. There was no reason for Kevin Stefanski to be hired anywhere because he failed as a coach. What the hell made you think he would be successful as a coach if he failed 2 years in a row, won 5 games. So you basically telling coaches, if you white, you can get the work. You don't have to be good. Is that why Phillip Rivers got the interview over there in Buffalo? Only black quarterbacks and I guess candidates are being interviewed because y'all making a mockery of the Rooney Rule. Even when you have something in place to do right, you still don't do right. And you want to pander to black people? We don't work for y'all. Y'all work for us. Fans make this go around. Because if they turn the TV off, like Kendrick said, what you gonna do? And just because you're trying to run overseas, Shedeur is popular overseas. Have you not seen what's happening in Paris? Africa? The Falcons have a lot of explaining to do. As do all of the goddamn GMs that passed on Shedeur Sanders. 13 quarterbacks were taken in the 2025 draft. Shedeur Sanders was passed up multiple times by every team in the NFL and was scouted by many teams for years. And they're on the record, especially in Cleveland, saying we know who Shedeur is. He's going to come in, he's going to work hard, he's highly accurate. So what the hell do you want at a quarterback if you know Shedeur is highly accurate, but you put him behind Deion? What the hell were you going for? You just wanted to lose? Then tell your fans that and discount them damn tickets instead of conning fans into paying premium prices for a non-competitive sport that you have rigged, which is a felony, by the way. Fixing and rigging games is illegal. And somebody said, I guess we could throw collusion out the window. I don't know why the hell you would think that. Shedeur Sanders had the votes for this. And we said he would have the votes for this. So he got fan support and he got exceptional talent. But you don't want that either. And that's indicative by the hire that the Falcons made. The Falcons fans need to put together a damn petition to fire Stefanski again. But the media over there working overtime, trying to convince them it's okay to not give a damn about Shedeur. Guy said otherwise. Now Shedeur going to be front and center until that Pro Bowl game. And depending on how that goes, we're going to be talking about him after that. And they wanted to combine it and integrate it with the Super Bowl. Okay. Because we're going to be talking about Shedeur Sanders in the Pro Bowl. It was hella disrespectful to this young man to put him behind Deion. He didn't earn anything. The question is, whose idea was it to work with somebody in NCAA college football to put Shedeur behind Deion on the Heisman stage? We think it's a coincidence that you parked Shedeur behind Deion on the Heisman stage and in Cleveland? You think we don't know that Kevin Stefanski used to work for Pat Schumer, who was Colorado's OC, who put Juju behind Ryan Staub? Juju, a 5-star, behind Ryan Staub, who was not good and did not have NFL aspirations? You think we don't know that Pat Schumer ran off the 2027 number 1 QB coming out of college and ran him right into the arms of Texas Tech, the rival in the Big 12? You think we don't know that? Well, you're fooling yourself. You're fooling yourself if you think we're stupid. And you know we're not stupid because look at everything you're doing trying to convince us that hiring Stefanski was right, that Stefanski didn't sabotage Shedeur. You out your damn mind. We have eyes and we can see. The fact that every team passed on him multiple times. Yes, it was meant to be humiliating, but more importantly, it was premeditated. They said it's a good thing Shedeur didn't come to Green Bay because he was locked out of the first round. Now, when the hell did you decide to do that? And why the hell did you decide to do that? And since you know you didn't want Shedeur before the draft, why the hell did you invite him to Green Bay? So you could humiliate him like you did Lamar Jackson? What you think we forgot? We didn't forget.
Not looking for that kind of quarterback now.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
That caused a little pause for me. Saying, okay, so what are you saying? You have to be a runaround guy, which is great. Okay, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, great to have a guy who can run around and create. That's great. But are we saying we can't win, or we're not that interested in a pocket passer? That they're not traditional? Now traditional is going to be the runaround guy. Oh, let's call it old school pocket passer. Okay, let's call it old school. Well,
so understand this. They kind of say Shedeur is an old school pocket passer, and they try to use that to justify putting him in the 5th round. But then on another hand, they said he wasn't good. Which the hell one is it? And both are lies. That meant this was premeditated. That meant the push to the draft was premeditated, because if you didn't think his skill set was anything to be interested in, he would have never been in the 1st round, period. This was premeditated. The draft push was premeditated. So was bringing in Flacco and Pickett to suck up the reps also premeditated, because it's not a coincidence that they left before anything significant took place in the season, and Andrew Berry got both of his 5th round draft picks back. So did they use Andrew Berry, a black man, to devalue Shedeur and come up with the excuse he has an outdated skill set? Because he does not. Shedeur Sanders' skill set is so damn outdated that he played a historic game versus the Tennessee Titans and became the first rookie in franchise history with 300 plus passing yards, 3 plus passing touchdowns, and a rushing touchdown in one game. Does that sound outdated to you? Does that sound outdated to you? How the hell is that outdated? Does that sound outdated? Let me know in the comments, because it's not given outdated. It's given he's accurate, like they said he would. He would outproduce his draft stock. Of course he would, because he was a 1st round draft pick, top 3. Many of us knew that the New York Giants were pretending. It needs to be looked into, because they've never had a black franchise quarterback drafted in the 1st round, and clearly they are allergic to having one based on the disgusting way they dehumanized and devalued Shedeur Sanders and lied on him. Guess what? The Browns also have never drafted a black quarterback in the 1st round. But let me tell you what I heard from interview to interview after the draft from the Browns. We spent extensive time with Shedeur Sanders because he was going to be their 1st round pick at number 2. And they came back to CU Pro Day. They came to CU Pro Day to try to figure out if they wanted to get Shedeur and Travis. So on April 4th, you were trying to figure out if it's going to be Shedeur and Travis. But then on 4/10, you got Flacco, and you were meeting secretly with Dylan. This was premeditated. This was premeditated collusion. And I don't know how Andrew Berry going to work his way out of this unless he does something to vindicate himself, because they used him to do it. I guess they couldn't fire another black Harvard grad like they did Sashi Brown just a few years earlier, and fired this man because he wanted to get Lamar. Sashi Brown worked for the Baltimore Ravens as like president of operations. I find it very interesting that after they fired him, he was out of the league for a minute and came back straight to the team where Lamar Jackson is, the quarterback he wanted to draft. Very, very interesting. So does it indicate that all 32 owners are not perpetuating anti-blackness? Or was there a lawsuit? And that's why he got hired, to prevent legal action. Shedeur Sanders' skills are so damn outdated. Shedeur Sanders joined Joe Burrow as the only rookie in the Super Bowl era to produce 350 passing yards, 3 plus passing touchdowns, and a rushing touchdown in a game. And he did that with the Raggedy Wildcats. So if it wasn't for the Raggedy Wildcats, Shedeur might have had 500 yards or 450. Shedeur Sanders' skill set is so damn outdated that he joined Aaron Rodgers as the only quarterback since the 2000s to have 4 50-plus yard completions in their first 3 career starts. But Shedeur Sanders' skill set was too expensive for the first round. Again, I don't know how Andrew Berry gonna save themselves from that, because they clearly left that part up to him, or at least they're pretending that it was up to him, and he going along with it. And for that, it's gonna cost you. It's gonna cost you. Because you could sit up and laugh and say, well, the draft over. Oops, my bad. We robbed you out of $40 million. You could try it. You could try it. But it ain't going to work for you. It's too many people watching. And there are already 3 fan bases revolting against their teams. The Browns is one. The Browns have fans revolting. They have potential candidates for head coach walking away. The Browns have 9 Browns fans holding them accountable. No player wants to be drafted to the Browns, and the one that worked there that have options don't want to come back there. They had to be hoodwinked into coming back. They were lied to because they're not valued either. And I'm talking about Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward. Shedeur Sanders' skill set is so damn outdated that he's the first Browns quarterback. How long the Browns been around? Since the 90s? Because I know, something happened before that. Since the 90s? To achieve 3+ passing touchdowns and a rushing touchdown in a game since 2007. 2007, it's almost 2027. You think they would be happy to have this young man? You would think after he put up these kind of numbers and broke these kind of barriers and records that they would have come out and said, he's our franchise QB or he's QB1 and protect him. But no, they still kicking on him. That's ownership. See, that's not Andrew Berry's call. And it's not lost on a lot of people that they are trying to push Andrew Berry out. Purging Black people from leadership roles. Only Black GMs have been fired. Just like they don't appreciate Andrew Berry, they don't appreciate Shedeur. Blacks in leadership. That's an ownership problem. Even Stefanski undermined Harvard-educated Andrew Berry, who was really above him. But they devalued Andrew Berry. And it seems to me, when you look at the pattern of their draft selections, for instance, they have not drafted a wide receiver since 2016 in the first round. Why is that? But they love Jerry Jeudy, who was failing. Why is that? Because Jerry Jeudy was failing a Black quarterback. And after they got rid of Baker, that's pretty much what they have had. And they devalued every last one of them and try to send them on their way with a demotion. That's all Kevin Stefanski seemingly succeeded at, but he failed with Shedeur. Because Shedeur's still there and Stefanski's gone. And now they're trying to find somebody else to be Stefanski 2.0 and don't nobody want it. Who the hell would want that? Who would want to embarrass their family and be labeled as somebody with Klan aspirations? You supposed to leave your hood on. You ain't supposed to take it off. The whole point is that people don't know, but they wanted people to know. Just like the Falcons wanted their fans to know. We don't give a damn what y'all think. We're going to issue this lie and we're going to get the media to work you. But we don't work for y'all. So that's another miscalculation. Shedeur Sanders' skill set is so damn outdated. Recorded a 52-yard completion with his 10.5 yards per attempt in that game, being the highest for a Browns QB since 2005. They say they know he's highly accurate. They know he's highly accurate, but they didn't want him to play. I mean, it don't take a genius to figure out you didn't want to win. And you would rather try to destroy this young man than win with this young man. And you collaborated with people. You colluded with people so that you could lose. And that's gratitude. For somebody like Coach Prime who worked that desk after he was done with his career in the NFL. They treated him like family. The New Orleans Super Bowl, they treated Shedeur and Coach Prime like family. We saw them in those rooms that were hella exclusive with the owners. We saw Jerry Jones. We saw Roger Goodell laughing and talking with Shedeur about Bucky filming. Don't we see Bucky filming? And Shedeur said, you got to let my brother have his way. He wouldn't say that with somebody he didn't know personally. But what was Roger Goodell's response? As if he was psychic. I'm worried about your pops. And then he looked off. And Shedeur like, wait, what? Did Roger Goodell know that Coach Prime was going to have surgery? No. Because Coach Prime didn't know. So what the hell was he talking about? Whatever it was premeditated. Just like you heard Mel Kiper Jr. say. Well, what do you mean you don't want quarterbacks like Shedeur Sanders now? What, you want the running around guy? The running around guy is Lamar Jackson. They don't want him either. Cam Ward wasn't protected. He was sacked 55 times. Jalen Milroe was pushed down, never to be heard from again. Hopefully he pop up in the Super Bowl. I'm going to have to hear about it because I'm not watching it. But they think they got him buried for 2 years. Truth be told, with his skill set and his QB comps, or Michael Vick and Lamar Jackson, he should have been somewhere in the first round. But they had him handled in the SEC, which is why I say these black quarterbacks need to choose carefully on where they're going to college. And if you over there, I suggest you hit that portal. Oh, wait, it's too late. All money ain't good money. Not when the people that can control your career, like they tried to control Shedeur's Heisman opportunities, paid you to stay here so we can derail your draft stock. Or so you can be like Ty Thompson playing tight end somewhere instead of being the 5-star quarterback that you are because you're black. All money ain't good money. Sometimes they pay you to stay away. Now, if you're good with that, cool, but just know that's what it is. Just like they seemingly drafted Shedeur knowing they didn't want him to keep him from going somewhere else and being successful somewhere else. So it seems like the goal and strategy, since they knew they didn't want him before the draft, and they humiliated and devalued him in the draft, and then he went to Cleveland, where he was dehumanized, was to draft to destroy. And that's what we watched, abuse. From May 2025 to January 2026. And they already started round 2. But what is holding up the conversation is nobody wants the head coaching job. And that's why. They already saw you saying, Shedeur hasn't earned anything. That's a damn lie. Everything I just read out loud to you proves he's already in elite company. People said that. People said that when he played versus the Panthers. And what was their excuse? Meaning the media and the Browns organization. Oh, that's just a preseason game. Well, what you got to say now? It's going to always be some excuse to move the goalposts, to try to destroy this young man. And notice they don't want to trade him so he could go somewhere else. So they hell bent on holding him hostage so he cannot be successful. We're going to see what guys say about that, because I told you. I said the Browns going to have to trade Shedeur, and they don't even know. Because they ain't going to do right. Not without some swift litigation. Or maybe some internal communication that exposes what the hell been going on and why it was a young lady on the payroll following around Shedeur when he in street clothes. That kind of information. Or maybe when there is somebody that decides that they want to say out loud that they are aware that that robbery was the inside the Berea job. Because somebody on the ground had to go ahead and take them photos to tell those robbers where to go. They didn't drive up from Atlanta to scope the place. They were clearly verifying this is the right area where they told us to go. Who did that? Only so many people knew where Shedeur lived because that wasn't his house. So imagine Shedeur sleeping on somebody else's couch and somebody find him over there. And it's somebody paid to follow him from the job, paid to follow him around in street clothes. Is it making sense yet? Is it making sense yet? The Browns need to explain why they had a young woman following Shedeur Sanders around in street clothes. And then he gets robbed. That ain't no goddamn coincidence. But is that a detail that got overlooked because nobody wanted to talk about it? But it is caught on camera. But maybe a lot of people don't know. Maybe the Medina County should look at that video. Because I don't know how they didn't see Stefanski as numero uno suspect with motive. The owner, number 2. Dylan Gabriel, number 3. Dylan Gabriel, fiance, number 4. Dan Lanning, number 5. And number 6 was fired 10 days before the robbery. The person in the New York Giants organization who went on the record to defame Shedeur. Their fired head coach. And they were trying to get him the job at Penn State. And they is Jimmy Sexton, who is in the circle of trust with the owner of the Browns, Daboll. And there are breadcrumbs from the getaway driver pointing to all of that I just said. By university name and NFL affiliation. University of Oregon, Oregon football, Penn State, and the NFL. That's just one hell of a coincidence. It's like they're pointing directly at the people. In a matter of time. So it's always time to follow in the Sanders footsteps and celebrate. So, the Sanders, everybody commented how after everything that happened, I heard DeAndre say how hard Shedeur worked, right? They celebrated as if Shedeur went number 1 overall to his favorite team, whatever that is, right? But they didn't sulk, they didn't pout, and it shows you that he comes from a family that understands that adversity will come their way, but keep going. And that's why we celebrate that he made it to the Pro Bowl. Anybody else remember the phone call?
Let's get ready to go to work. Right?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, I got a coach here right now.
Yo. What's up, coach?
Good to see you, man.
Yes, sir. I'm excited to see you.
Remember I told you the Lord works in mysterious ways, right?
No, for sure.
It's an opportunity and we're going to get to work together, okay, buddy?
Beautiful.
So that was Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski talking to Shedeur after he was drafted. And then I told you the Lord works in mysterious ways from Stefanski and proceeded to dehumanize the man once he touched down in Cleveland. Shedeur Sanders was projected number 1. They smiled in his face extensively. Even Mary Cabot called it out. Well, y'all spent a lot of time with Shedeur Sanders. Because they were going to make him their number 2 pick overall and do something the Browns had never done. And what was that? Draft a black quarterback in the first round. Or were they just playing? It's called the bait and switch because you can't play with people's careers and lives that way. So they were corrupt from the start. They need to prove that they were not. Because how do you explain spending an extensive amount of time with Shedeur Sanders as your number 2 quarterback, evaluating him as your number 2 quarterback, talking to people going back for 4 years, coming and looking at him and see you for years, asking him not to play in the Shrine Bowl. And when you heard Stefanski say, like I told you, which meant they had conversations, the Lord works in mysterious ways. We got you back. And then when he get over there, they abuse him. So they lured him in pre-draft. And they mad because he didn't choose to go be parked behind Lamar Jackson or to go be parked behind Jalen Hurts. It's not a coincidence that Andrew Berry, his connections work for both of those franchises. Sashi Brown with the Ravens and Andrew Berry's own, I think, twin brother with the Eagles. So those were not legitimate opportunities. That was to get rid of Shedeur after we baited you in and cut bait. We switched to Dylan. How do you pivot from Shedeur Sanders to Dylan Gabriel? You don't. It should make you look and ask, how the hell did Shedeur Sanders get parked behind Dylan Gabriel on the Heisman stage and in Cleveland? And look at the associations. Dan Lanning, Stefanski, Pat Schumer. And then it makes sense when you learn that Shedeur Sanders had to put that team on his back, not just to win games, so they wouldn't tear down his father's program for the 2nd year in a row. Because they succeeded in the 3rd year without him. There's a lot of people that have some explaining to do. There's a lot of people that partook in the corruption, the smear campaign, the dehumanization, the abuse, the derailment of this young man's career and his father's career at Colorado and his reputation in the NFL. Everything that's coming out now is connecting the dots to more and more people going back to Colorado. Just like the owner of the Browns didn't want to fire Stefanski, but is thinking of hiring Schwartz, you're going to have some explaining to do. Because you said y'all could have won more than 5 games. Why did you not fire Stefanski and make Schwartz the interim head coach? And why are you playing in this black man's face? Like you played in Shedeur's, like you played in Andrew Berry's, because they don't value black people. Tell us more. And who decided at Colorado to leave Pat Schumer in place? Because it's obvious Coach Prime was trying to replace the man. And then the AD gets moved out the way. And then the Big 12 tries to and did run off successfully the high school recruits. And then Colorado puts out these bogus information that they don't have no money, but at the end in small print, but we don't have all the numbers in yet. Then they release the final numbers, triple digit millions, north of 165 million. That's the Prime effect. And that's who you want to quit because you don't want to pay him his buyout, because you don't want to enrich this black man, because you got anti-black sentiment running through your franchise and your university. And you don't want people to talk about that. That's why we celebrate the Pro Bowl, because Shedeur made it despite everything that happened, and they want you to forget. Hell no. We just getting started. I'm surprised we haven't had any more trades. It seems like people calling for trades, but maybe they being denied. This affects money. Let me tell you how much it affects money. All right. So let me go back to the 2024 draft. All right. You're looking at me on draft night talking about what's happening with the money and how Shedeur being devalued affects the money, which was meant to humiliate. What pick are we on? All right, so we're currently on the 24th pick. Okay, so let's just go with it. Caleb Williams' contract was $39 million. Now I told y'all I think Cam's is 43 because they raised it up. It's 40 or 43. Let's go to pick first round number 24. This is the difference. 14. That's $20 million less. You see? You see? That's what I mean by it messes with their money. That's a $20 million difference from pick 1 to pick 24. It happened to Aaron Rodgers at pick 22. That's 14 million. That's what it is. That's what they for me, the people that I've talked about, Lamar Jackson was drafted dead last. And he was about it's $12 million this year, but when Lamar Jackson came out, 2018, I think, it was $9 million. So if Shedeur go in the second round around pick, let's say he go to Cleveland at pick 33, I would be like, I'm not going. I'm not going. Pick 33 is $10 million. If he slides to where Jalen Hurts went, pick 53, $7 million. You see? That's what I mean. This is how you do people dirty. When you don't like them, you drop them in the draft. I told y'all, Aaron Rodgers slid, but he didn't slide out the first. Geno Smith got done dirty. How you go from the first pick to the second round? Come on now. So there you go. This was about money because they knew taking his money would humiliate him. All of it seeming like it was premeditated. But he didn't give up. He didn't quit. They didn't succeed at running him off. They didn't destroy him mentally. He got paid less money. He went. Cleveland pulled the bait and switch. He still went. They put it behind Dillon. He competed and he won. They ignored the results of their little fake competition that they chose to run. The Browns that they chose to run. He didn't quit. He went out there and balled out with no advance notice and no first team chemistry, no first team reps in the Panthers game and was making surgical throws. Even had people going to Carolina to watch Shedeur play. 2 million fans brought his rookie jersey. That's not even his damn jersey number. What they did was they gave Shedeur Travis's jersey number. And they gave Travis Shedeur's money instead of paying Travis and paying Shedeur. With Shedeur going at number 2. Travis going at number 3. This was meant to humiliate him, and they tried to justify it by saying he should have had an agent. Jerry Jones didn't want to talk to Michael Parsons' agent and did not, and it's David Mulligetta. So if Shedeur had an agent, what would have happened? What, did he need a white man to intervene and say, cut it off, knock it off? Were they going to listen? Because did they look at McDermott, who spoke well of Shedeur? Look at Wyatt Teller, who spoke well of Shedeur, whose wife said after Stefanski was fired, play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. So what the hell was an agent going to do? And Cam Ward didn't have an agent. Why did it negatively not affect him? Because it wasn't about that. Shedeur Sanders was going to be number 2 overall, the 17th black quarterback. This is about anti-black at the quarterback position, which is why 2 white quarterbacks were drafted before him, and none of them made it to the Pro Bowl. That's why we celebrate Shedeur Sanders going to the Pro Bowl. It's like God put him where he belongs, despite their anti-black sentiment. Then they have the audacity to be upset that college quarterbacks are staying in college. So let me get this straight. You devalue and humiliate and rob one of the best quarterbacks coming out of college, and his father was a legend in the NFL, all because he was number 17 of 32, making a historic moment for black quarterbacks. And you didn't want that to happen. So instead of Shedeur and Milroe, second and third off the board for quarterbacks, you went with Jackson Dart and Tyler Shaw, who aren't better than Shedeur and Milroe. This was about anti-blackness. And you're seeing it play out now with them allowing Stefanski to abuse Shedeur because he's black, not because he's a Sanders, because he's a black quarterback, which is why Stefanski was rewarded in one of the blackest cities in this country. You're supposed to think it's about Coach Prime. It's about anti-blackness. You're not supposed to be able to see past them committing to Michael Penix Jr. when in fact that's a threat. Because why haven't they committed to Shedeur, who put up the numbers, who broke all the records and had all the firsts and joined the elite company? Because this is about anti-blackness in Cleveland, in the Browns organization. And I don't know how the police could look away and not have several suspects in Berea. Because what did Dylan Gable's fiance say? Everybody in the building wants Dylan to play. Well, that's motive. Because Dylan wasn't playing. And when Shedeur got his fingernail ripped off, who went out there? Dylan. And the fans were like, get the hell out of here. But you see, they made a way for Dylan to get back in. The fans didn't approve. And Shedeur is built for a tough, so he came back out. But you see, they made a way by using his own teammate to rip off his fingernail. That's how extreme they are. That's why nobody talked about it. That's why nobody talked about the robbery when it happened and when the people got caught. What they don't talk about after they talk about Shedeur incessantly, even when he tied his shoes. Think about how vocal they were when they got those speeding tickets. Why is it only Myles Garrett and Shedeur Sanders were robbed? Why is it only Myles Garrett and Shedeur Sanders got speeding tickets? Why did we know about Myles Garrett only after he told Shedeur, we're going to need you, buddy? It's a lot of people. Several people got some explaining to do. Because not only is this collusion to derail the career of one of the probably the best quarterback coming out of college last year and this year, to scapegoat his father, to defame Shedeur, to push out his brother, to make it seem personal. That's why they lied and said it was Atlanta, but it actually was the New York Giants where Dalbaugh worked. So the GM could keep his job because apparently that was the boyfriend of the GM's daughter. And none of them have been held accountable. So just like Atlanta was chosen to take the file, Atlanta was chosen for Stefanski to go to, despite the abuse against Shedeur, because it's a message. And the message is anti-black. So yeah, we celebrating Shedeur going to the Pro Bowl. You damn straight.
Work just like all of our other players. We view him as a highly accurate pocket passer. He does a really good job of protecting the ball. He has enough of the physical characteristics, whether it's arm strength or mobility. Like all young players, there are things to improve. I think probably much has been said about the number of sacks he's taken. Some of that is environment, and some of that is his improvement on his end for sure. But he has probably a little bit more of a, call it retro or classic style of play. Our message to him is really all this: like, look, you got to come in and work, and you got to come in and compete. And that's the message. Nothing's given. The interviews, they're a small piece of it. We certainly do rely a lot more heavily, on our reference work for people who have been with the prospect for 2, 3, 4 years after school. We feel good with him as a person. He works hard. He's a really good kid. He wants to be great. His teammates, loved him and in Colorado, and I know he'll come in here ready to work, ready to try and put his best foot forward.
So you heard the narrative they were using to justify Shedeur not being drafted by the Browns, number 2 overall, after they spent time with him extensively evaluating his skill set. And now, Shedeur Sanders has gone on to be one of the best quarterbacks that the Browns have had in eons. How do you justify that? Was Andrew Berry successful at putting together a great draft class? Absolutely. But if he get fired, it's his karma, because he clearly took part in devaluing Shedeur Sanders and tried to justify it by saying his skill set is outdated, retro style pocket passer. Shedeur Sanders is not a retro style pocket passer. Shedeur Sanders is mobile. He just not Lamar Jackson. But Jalen Milroe is, and where did they put him? The same place they put Shedeur, buried on the depth chart. The difference between Milroe and Shedeur got 20 million fans. That's the difference. That's also the difference between Shedeur and Lamar. Which means if you're going to keep coming to this league, you better come with some fans, because you don't have nobody to stand up for you. And it's going to be too many people standing against you as a black quarterback, which is why they're going back to school. And I applaud them. So let me see what y'all are saying. We're happy that Coach Prime's legacy gets to live on, because they clearly tried to destroy it. It says Coach Prime went to the Pro Bowl 8 times during his 14-season NFL career. He earned these honors as a cornerback and return specialist between 91 and 94 and 96 through 99 while playing for the Falcons, the 49ers, and the Dallas Cowboys. He was selected in 91, 92, 93, 94, 96, 97, 98, and 99. I have no idea what went on in 95, but it'd be interesting to see what happened with that. Again, it was the Falcons, the 49ers, and the Cowboys. Now, remember, Shiloh had an interview with the 49ers. I knew it was a sham. Just like it was a sham when Shiloh got baited in and pushed out, and the person who was pulling on Shiloh's face mask, which could have injured his neck, just like they kept hitting Shedeur in the head, trying to injure his neck. See, they weren't just trying to push them out. They were trying to make sure they were unavailable to move on and be successful elsewhere with their skill set, their DNA, and their football is the family business legacy. The other person that played for the Bills, not surprised they played for the Bills. Look at what's happening with Keon Coleman. Look at what's happening with McDermott. Look at how the Bills fan assaulted Lamar Jackson. You see the pattern here? That person never faced any consequences. Maybe somebody should check his bank account. Accolades. Coach Prime, he was also a 6-time first-team All-Pro and 2-time Super Bowl champion. And they decide to thank Coach Prime by scapegoating him to hide their racism, because his son was supposed to be 17 or 32 when taken in the first round as inherent QB1 to the Cleveland Browns, because we knew the New York Giants was full of it. All right, so I'm headed over to the comments to see what y'all are thinking. I know it's a lot of people hating on this situation. It says Shedeur made the Pro Bowl because he is a pro. That's right, Texas. It said those who don't like it need to ask the Most High why he made it. That's what I say. You got a problem with what God has designed, what God has done, but you know who you need to take it up with. And a lot of people are saying what this proves is that God has the final say so. When they going to get the message? When are they going to get the message? People saying Shedeur is still in Paris, living his best life without his phone, and don't know what they saying. I mean, why would you entertain it? Like Russell Wilson said, he never even watched ESPN. These black quarterbacks have to protect their peace, and they need to be talking to each other, and they need to support each other. They need to be rallying around CJ Stroud right now. He's not the only target, but he's the latest target. And it's not the first time he's been targeted. Hey, Tina, how you doing? Hey there, everybody. Hey, Miss Pamela. It said, good evening, everyone. We are exciting news. I love it. So proud to be a Shedeur fan. I know that's right. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Congratulations. Yes. Hey, Pamela, welcome back. Patricia, welcome back. Sharon, welcome back. Robin, welcome back. Congratulations, 12. Yep, congratulations to Shedeur. Hey, everybody from Tennessee. It's 14 degrees here. Yeah, it's pretty cold here, Anna, too. Let's see. Temperature in Atlanta right now. What was it, 27 earlier?
It's 17 degrees outside.
Ooh, it's 17 degrees here, too. So we have the same weather as Tennessee. Oh, it's 14 in Tennessee. It's 17. Now, that's the coldest it has been since I think I've been here. I don't think it's been that cold. Luckily, the ground was dry. Hey, Clara, welcome back. Hey, happy and grateful Pro Bowl bound. Facts. It said, congratulations, Pro Bowler, Shedeur Sanders. I hope one of my votes helped him get in. I know that's right. Because I know people were really voting. So it makes sense, right? It's a no-brainer. He's like that. And then he had the fan support, too. It said the flyest show on the planet. What she says for us. Thank you. You heard. It said, hey, it's 11 degrees here in Memphis. Ooh, wow. Wow. It said grand evening, what she said in chat. It said checking in from Maryland. It's about 12 degrees. Wow. Feel like it's -5. Ooh, it's cold. Like, hype, and subscribe. Thank you so much, Ramon. Don't forget, I sent you an email. That is huge. Yes, that is good. That is good. It said W12 Mr. 144 legendary chosen Pro Bowl. That's right. 12 up the chat too. Yep, 12 up the chat. Absolutely. God made a way. When God said, I'm going to go before you and make the crooked places straight, that's them fans. I said Shedeur Sanders fan base. Shedeurians were his saving grace. And now people see what I meant. They could have cheated him. But I suspect somebody about to take the fall for some things. Let's see what happened with Andrew Berry and who they hire. I think it's going to be Schwartz because Stefanski hired Schwartz, which means the owner is still on that BS and they need to get rid of him. It said, God parted the Red Sea once again. It said, move people like he did the Browns QB straight out the way. That's right. And we watched that happen and people were like, oh, wow. And I remember saying Shedeur actually has the clearest path to get to the QB1 position. And you see how Stefanski tried his damnedest to make sure that didn't happen and went whining to people saying that the personnel decisions, he didn't like it, meaning he didn't like Shedeur Sanders' plan. But understand this. Andrew Berry said Shedeur Sanders will outproduce his draft stock. Well, that's a duh because he wasn't a 5th round pick in the first place. So that's duh. But the point is, he was supposed to have the opportunity to do that on the field, and Stefanski tried to stop that. It seems to me Stefanski was working against Andrew Berry, and because of the way Haslam have them reporting, Berry had one goal, and Shedeur Sanders had another one. Seems Berry's goal was to bring him in with his melanin and to go on camera and say the opposite, good cop, bad cop, against the New York Giants when they came out and said they have a problem with Coach Prime. He's going to be in the shadows. Andrew Berry went on camera and said, yeah, we don't think we'll have a problem with Coach Prime. Yeah, because you knew what you was going to do to Shedeur. Again, did he put together a good class? Yeah, I think he actually is a really good GM. But the problem is he went along with the agenda to devalue a first-round draft pick, and they're going to hang that on his head. Just like it looked like they're going to hang something on Stefanski. It seems that he's been rewarded with $15 million, but they sent him to the blackest city in the United States after he tried to derail and dehumanize a black man. Those two don't go together. And then when you add in Coach Prime and how much the city of Atlanta loves, plural, Coach Prime and Shedeur Sanders as well. If that preseason game had been played in Atlanta like it was in Carolina, Mercedes-Benz would have been sold out. It would have been standing room only. And it's probably a couple of cities that could have happened. There's a reason why Huntley didn't want to go back to Cleveland. And they waived Huntley. knowing he had already been to the Pro Bowl, knowing that he scored a touchdown in the Pro Bowl. And they treated him like garbage too, because he's black. Anti-blackness. And Stefanski gets rewarded for that. Somebody gonna pay. Somebody gonna pay. So much hate. Yes, Joyce. Yes, totally. Hey, OC Tillman, it says Shedeur attitude will raise his aptitude. Facts, but I know it wasn't easy. I know it wasn't easy. It said Sean King introducing Pro Bowler Shedeur Sanders. Sean, you said he wasn't going to be in the Pro Bowl. It said, guys said, yes, he will. Not a Pro Bowl is bull jump. Yeah, not a Pro Bowl isn't good. Well, guess what? We're going to be watching the Pro Bowl, not the Super Bowl. Not the Super Bowl. It said something seems fake about Indiana football, like they cheated and propped it up. It said now they are doing a comparison to the Indiana coach and Coach Prime and Mendoza and Shedeur. Why? I don't know, because Mendoza is the check down king. And most people who are football fans, white or black or any other racial demographic, has called that out. There's no way in the hell Shedeur Sanders would have won anything with 177 yards in a playoff game. And definitely could have gone to the Natty and wind up with negative rushing yards and no touchdowns, no passing touchdowns. The only touchdown he got, I swear, Miami let him through. It was what the running he did. He's doing a running back's job. That's why I said if Mendoza go to Vegas, Ashton Genty gonna be MVP. Unless they turn Mendoza into the running back. And it's gonna be obvious. It's already becoming obvious. So they want to prop up the Mendozas, the Tyler Shaw, the Jackson Darts. And they propping up Jackson Dart and Tyler Shaw just because, to justify why they were drafted in front of Shedeur, why they not in the Pro Bowl. The Saints still trying to say, we made the right choice with Tyler Shaw. No, you didn't. Lie to yourself if that's what you want to do. Just because you can prop Tyler Shaw up and get away with it does not mean Tyler Shaw is better than Shedeur and you made the right choice. You, in fact, did not make the right choice. In fact, how did your proprietary information about you not drafting Shedeur fall into the hands of the supposed boyfriend of the daughter of the GM of the New York Giants right on time? Explain it. Why they know who the hell you was drafting when the phone call came. And then they tried to slide that off like it was just some random prank that was happening. Not by these people. Just like they're seemingly trying to slide off the robbery at Shedeur's house because he's a celebrity and that was robbed. Not by these people. It's already said by the Medina County Sheriffs. These people did not rob Myles Garrett. I can't find no information on when Myles Garrett got robbed. And you not convincing nobody that 4 people came up for 12 minutes for some bags that they could have got hitting up several teams along the way. And when they got to Brookhaven, they had a robbery to complete, and that's how they got caught. Okay. No mention of those breadcrumbs, though. No mention of those breadcrumbs. And like you can fool some of the people some of the time, but you can't fool everybody all the time. Shedeur is still a human being. Yep, it was very purposeful to have watched what happened in the draft. Yeah, they were being roguish. They were being roguish. What God has for you, there is no man that can take it. Facts. What did Shedeur say? They want me to fail. It ain't gonna happen. He's right. They want me to fail. It ain't gonna happen. The dream Shedeur had before the draft was letting him know what was coming his way. And for that, he gonna forever be grateful. And he gonna forever follow God. They led him before. God showed up before he needed the help. That's why he said, they want me to fail. Who the hell you think they is? How many times did I say the Browns are sabotaging their own quarterback? Let that sink in. These people have sunk to a new low. They done went from Bounty Gate to running off black O-linemen to sabotaging their own black quarterbacks to firing only black GMs. Black coaches that had better records than the replacements. Looking for anybody with white skin. Trying to hire Phillip Rivers. What? And pushing out McDermott because he had great things to say about Shedeur. Excuse me, because he spoke the truth. See, you get retaliated against when you acknowledge the truth or you support the truth or you show compassion to those that they are actively abusing. I said it. Kevin Stefanski should be in jail. Y'all thought I was kidding. I'm not. And since they know the owner is a problem, why they didn't replace him? Yep, we love Shedeur, and they're not gonna make us feel no different. Hell, I love Michael Penix Jr. too, especially more so because I know you're coming for him. So you could try it. Psalms 23:5. Thou preparest the table before me in the presence of my enemies. I know that's right, Woody. I know that's right. And I think Bucky have shared that scripture a couple of times. I think normally when things happen, he'll say something along the lines. I mean, that's just facts. I think it's amazing to me that they think the media could tell us what the hell it is we looking at. It's amazing to me that they think they could Colin Kaepernick this goddamn thing. Because they didn't want Kaepernick to care about black people. So they don't want black fans to care about black quarterbacks that they want to push out because they got too many. And they scapegoated Coach Prime to hide their racism. And they started the smear campaign against Shedeur in college to hide their racism. Dan Lanning got some explaining to do. It said, watch what happens in Atlanta with the monster of a coaching company. Facts. And he is a monster because nobody else want to be a monster. That's why they don't want the job. Stefanski will only be there 1 year. That's if he make it. That's if he make it that far because Atlanta, it might be off season. And they conditioned to go ahead on and, you know what? We'll deal with this when we get there. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Meaning they have already let it be known how they feel, and you got time to do something about it. So we're going to see what happens. Shedeur Sanders did not win the Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award in college for nothing. Facts. I mean, that's just straight facts. And they don't even want to talk about that. They just want you to believe the lies that they push, which means they feel they have the power to manipulate you. Are you crazy? You are a football league. Why would anybody who you are not paying money to believe anything you say or allow themselves to be manipulated by you? Are you a cult? We're not a cult. We're talking about employing the media to try to convince the fans in Atlanta they shouldn't care about Shedeur. So they supposed to forget about Coach Prime. They're not supposed to care about Shedeur either. Shedeur's not benefiting directly because Coach Prime is his father. Shedeur is benefiting because he's good. Because last I checked, he was benefiting when he was playing down there in Carolina, and they don't live there. They're not from there. And Coach Prime, I don't think he played for the Panthers. People want to see good football. Shedeur brings in exciting, competitive, winning football. That's why Shedeur is benefiting from the support of 20 million fans. It's like they haven't thought this through. And they're doing something they already did. And they're not considering that this is the modern era. They're not considering people barely watch regular TV. They understand people watch podcasts and it's on social media. So they're trying to use that to tell you what the hell you see is not something you should be concerned about. You shouldn't be concerned about Stefanski abusing Shedeur. You're a damn lie. We're human beings. We will give a damn about what we want to give a damn about. Like the audacity. You're not the only thing happening. And yes, you have fanatics. But clearly, everybody is not a fanatic, or there wouldn't be 3 damn franchises with fan bases revolting. Buffalo is moving forward with interviewing people. Phillip Rivers backed out, apparently, despite the fact that 40,000 fans have said and demanded that they rehire him. I want to see how it's going to work out in that stadium with only 60,000 seats that they get in 2025. They better leave it empty. The Browns already know what's coming their way. The owner had an attitude when he said people saying the organization is toxic. Yes, it's toxic and unorganized and corrupt. Facts. That's exactly what it is. That's why nobody wants the job. And they trying to send Grossi out there to say it's because of this. People don't want the job because you made the corruption obvious and they don't want to go to jail. And you use Stefanski to let everybody else know that you want to participate in the corruption. I got you. And they like, You have to be a special kind of fool to do what Stefanski did and take your behind down there to Atlanta. Embarrass your family, your kids, your wives, your parents. Nobody wants to be Stefanski 2.0. You're going to have to pay somebody to do that. And they're going to have to go on and get them a lawyer. Because they're going to take the fall. Nobody wants to be their patsy. The haters online are trying to minimize Shedeur's accomplishments. They can't because it's too many to mention for somebody that was a rookie. Later for the check down Charlie's facts. It said the same team that prank called him hired the coach that sabotaged Shedeur. Well, that's what they told you, but yeah. That's what they told you, but yeah. I seen that Dylan Gabriel might end up in Atlanta. I don't know who else would want him. I really don't. If he stay in Cleveland, good luck with that. Because I'm going to tell you, when Shedeur had to go to the locker room, when they ripped off his nail, when I tell you the fans revolted, and then like the dirt divers were doing like this, trying to tell people to be quiet. You ain't going to tell fans, who the hell do you think you are? They don't even like you no more. And these are supposed to be people that are the representatives for the teams in the NFL Players Association, which is on the back of a milk carton. Remember, slick stuff rolls downhill and it starts from the top. Facts. I just hope Shedeur gets to actually play. I don't care if he don't play. I'm just happy he going. He don't have to play. It's flag football anyway. I think it's more about getting the selection and going than it is about actually playing. Now, I consider if the fact that he actually plays a cherry on top, because I don't need him to play. I'm just glad he went because they probably didn't want that either. They didn't want nothing else, so why would they want him to go there? Exactly. Nobody wants to sabotage 12, so they turn it down the job. Yeah, and they don't want to admit that. They want to act like it's this. First of all, you act like Stefanski wasn't letting people know what he was doing. I pointed that out so many times. I said he's trying to show you. And then with this appointment in Atlanta, they trying to tell you. And again, it takes a special kind of fool. Because Stefanski is numero uno suspect in that robbery because not everybody have thousands in cash to pay supposedly 4 people and they can't find number 4. Atlanta's not a very big place. Not a very big place. And they got Callahan already on the ground as an O-line coach. That's Stefanski's replacement. Why the hell would you hire Callahan, who was just fired as a head coach, as an O-line coach? That's why when you saw Stefanski, they were rubbing on his shoulders and encouraging him because it is probably starting to sink in. Understand, they got to get rid of him too. I said it in Cleveland, he was a legal liability. Let's see if he actually gets to the 15 million 5 years in a row. Yeah, it's diabolical. That's exactly what it is. Yes, Vermont, that's fact. It's that coaches do not want to deal with the racist and negative media and the Haslam organization, right? And they want to lie and say that's what it is. Yeah, fans, we ain't going nowhere. It said even if he doesn't play, which he will, he's the ticket. Yeah, he is the ticket. That's facts. It says Shedeur will play. It's flag football. Everybody gonna play. It's like a celebrity game for sponsors and fans. Okay, well, I personally, I don't care. All I'm saying is, it for me as a fan, this is the holy grail right here. The fact that Shedeur Sanders is going to the Pro Bowl. I don't care about the rest. I'm just saying that's cool. The setup, I don't care. Flag, it don't even matter. I don't even know. I might be on an airplane and might not see it. This is the holy grail right here. Getting somewhere that they didn't want him to get. And I don't care if they had to give it to him. Somebody said they gave him. I'm like, they didn't give Shedeur a damn thing. I'm like, it's either something going on behind the scenes. Who hosted the Super Bowl? Is it CBS? Don't forget, CBS played Shedeur's song, which meant they had to pay him at a commercial break of the Vegas Raiders game. And I told y'all they are pro Shedeur. If Paramount is hosting the Super Bowl or CBS, something's going on. And they probably like, look here, we only willing to do this if we gonna get Shedeur out here. See, these companies want to make money. Budweiser want to sell beer. Huntington Bank want to have accounts and investments. They're not really interested in your racial politics. And most sponsors don't say anything until fans stop spending money. And we already in a weird place where an economic boycott is being called across the country. Understand, we can cut football out first. They already telling you to go shop at mom and pop stores. So they don't want you to spend money in this way. And CBS could have been like, look here, I'm going to need you to go on and do what's right this time. Because people are already trying to not spend money in the first place intentionally to send a message. We don't want to get caught up in that. We could be one of the things that they want to do. Yeah. Cool. I told people, don't worry about if it's for likes and clicks. God knows how to take a mess and turn it into the message. And 9 times out of 10, they are the ones being used. I mean, you should already kind of see that. So we happy. This is the end right here. This is the holy grail. This is what needed to happen. And think about the timing. This young man was just in Paris, walking down the street, eating cake out of a box, enjoying himself, not having people to breathe in. I can't imagine how he survived that. I mean, I know it was God because that was the only way he was going to do it. Because if he didn't have God, he wouldn't have survived that. He wouldn't have survived that. And I ain't telling you he would have quit. But he would have ended up depressed, though. Think about how Johnny Manziel and the other black player, the black player for the Browns who said his coach didn't talk to him. I still don't know who that is. Think about what they had to do. They had to leave Cleveland every week to get away from there. Yeah. So it was no walk in the park. They're right. He is built for tough. It was a mess. God has turned it into a message, and this is his blessing. This is exactly what the prayer footprints is about. And we're all watching it because we all might need it. We living in some weird times. Times that people are thinking about taking up residence in another country, self-included, Panama. It's a reality. You're hearing celebrities in other countries getting citizenship in other countries. We living in some weird times. And with the way these people are acting, with this anti-black sentiment, it seems like they understand that there will be no consequence for purging black leadership and black quarterbacks and abusing Shedeur. And didn't the president come out and say, after was it the Raiders game? And he said, I told you so. Or was it the Titans game? And yet they not worried about that. You don't think that's strange? They pay big money to stay off the executive branch's radar. And yet they persisted to abuse him. You don't think that's strange? I mean, it take a lot of guts, right? Like you got to be crazy. But they know something. It said Roger Goodell, it said knew they were going to collude against Shedeur. Right. Absolutely. Because when he said, I'm worried about your pops, I'm like, oh, he must be psychic. He must be psychic. Because we know he ain't psychic. Because if he's psychic, he know what's coming, right? Well, let's see. Fans were booing him at the draft. So they already don't like him. These people have their jobs because of each other. That's the only reason why they still there. They're not good at what they do. This is a wealth transfer system. And also a system of, what is it called? Cryonomy or something like that, where you get your job not based on skill. Cryonomy or something like that. It said they definitely tried to run Shedeur off. Yep, but it didn't work. And they didn't expect him to make it. I totally agree, Tillman. They tried to do what Richie Incognito did to Jonathan Martin, and he did run off Jonathan Martin. I don't know where he is these days. It would be nice if somebody talk to him, but it's documented, right? There is a hashtag for NFL scandals. Did y'all know that? NFL draft, NFL football, NFL scandals. There's a hashtag for it. This is a scandal. The year they tried to break Shedeur. Why are you trying to break a quarterback? Why are you sabotaging your own quarterback? Why are you rigging and fixing games so you could lose? They know who the problem is. Also, 20 million followers and counting are talking loud and clear. Yeah, people letting it be known. People are letting it be known. Shout out to, is it Cassian? Okay, I have to make sure I try to say it right. I'm always looking for a nickname to call somebody. Cassian. Okay, it said 12 is definitely like that. Yeah, Shedeur is like that. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. 12 is definitely like that. And it's sad because he provides an exciting brand of football, right? Which is why I said I'd be happy to see the primetime classic at the ranch. And here we are, the Pro Bowl. So I'm still want to see it. I still want to see it. Because watch how people watch this Pro Bowl. For some of us, that's going to be the Super Bowl because I'm not going past that. They better bring Shedeur there. I told y'all I'm going to drop a hoodie or t-shirt. Probably a hoodie because it's 17 degrees outside. That says, is Shedeur going to be there? You know how normally we say who are over there. We want to know who over there before we go to know if it's worth going. All right. So when it comes to the NFL, is Shedeur going to be there? If Shedeur not going to be there, we not coming. Think about it. We were the same way during the season. Remember during the season, we were like, if Shedeur ain't playing, we not watching. And we lived up to that. We living up to this boycott. I'm not watching the Super Bowl. Is Shedeur going to be there? Is he going to be in uniform? Understand. That's what it's going to take. That's what it's going to take because you did everything imaginable this season to exclude black quarterbacks on purpose. Trends don't lie. Just like Shedeur was trending today. That's not anything you can control. You can't control the trends. You can't control what the fans want. Instead, you totally forsaken the fans by pushing check down kings on the fans and dressing it up like that's the standard. These quarterbacks did not play football since the age they were 4 to perfect their game. What you're trying to do is show people that you don't need black DNA. You don't want to have it. You trying to tell people we don't need y'all. We don't want you. We don't need you. We don't value you. That's the same message they gave to Shedeur all year. And here he is in the Pro Bowl. Did anybody find out if it's on CBS or Paramount? Because if that's where it is, they are Shedeur Sanders friendly from what I could see. And it would make sense. Especially considering they have rolled the Pro Bowl games into the Super Bowl week. And as soon as Shedeur off the screen, I'm out. I'm out. Shedeur, you're number 1 over here. It said, hey, it's 11 degrees. Yeah. Oh, Lord. Yes, it's getting colder and colder and colder. Colder and colder. Yeah, it's diabolical. Absolutely. It's evil. I mean, they on some demon type stuff. Just straight devilish. All the CU players that were drafted to the NFL should have been drafted by the 2nd round. I totally agree. The NFL didn't want to see Coach Prime win because of all of these players were elite. Right. And since we now understand that, you think they done? You think they want to see it this year? No. You think if they didn't want Shedeur to be successful last year, that they want him to be successful this year? No. You want to know when things are changing? Let me know when you see Shiloh working out for a team and he actually gets on the team and it's not something to placate or pander. You want to know when things are going to be changing? Let's see when some of the owners, besides Mark Davis, are nice to Coach Prime. And the Browns want to win with him. You want to know when consequences will be had? for Browns ownership, how's that stadium going? Let me know when you hear people on these larger platforms talking about new ownership. Like they talking about Stefanski not being good for Atlanta. He looked like he looked. Because like I know, he know that when NFL has 10% ownership in ESPN, and all of ESPN, including Pat McAfee, is saying he tried to kill Nick Chubb and he's awful for Atlanta, you know what time it is. That's why Callahan is the offensive line coach. And it seems that Cleveland offloaded Stefanski after he was done. And they trying to find another one. And the Falcons signed up to take the fall. But just like in the draft, somebody else made that phone call associated with the only franchise to devalue Shedeur and defame him early on, well before the draft. Somebody else is being protected. The Falcons signed up for it because the lie is that it's personal against Coach Prime. It ain't that much hate for Coach Prime in this world. That's a lie. It's to hide their racism. It said the media still trying to change Shedeur's narrative. Yep, well, they wasting their breath. They wasted their breath. Ripped off his nail. Yeah, he ripped off his nail. He still won too. Yep. And that's what they were using to get Dillon back into the game. And what did Stefanski say? I'll never forget it. When Stefanski said after Shedeur won against the Panthers before they played the Rams, we're going to have to put him down. I remember I was eating lunch. I damn near had whiplash. I'm like, you going to have to do what? And what happened? He got sacked 5 times by the Goon Squad that they cut the next day, including Huntley. And they took Shedeur out the game and put Huntley in. And that evolved into them raggedy Wildcats. They did not want him to win. And they probably still don't. So I want Shedeur to enjoy the offseason. I say stay over there in Paris. That's what I say. Find a field workout over there. Because that's a good reset. And this is a blessing. Don't come back over here. Don't even come back over here. Not right now. Enjoy your freedom. Enjoy yourself. Yeah, people know who you are, but they probably don't hate you. Because that's manufactured on this side of the pond. Because it's to hide their anti-blackness. I'm listening to myself from earlier. I'm like, Thank you so much. Who is that? T? Straight Talker said, you have to check down mediocrity. Yeah, they have a check down mediocrity. Like, nobody's gonna want to see that when they catch it on. And see, remember, they work off the premise that you care about your fan base. You don't care about what's going on in nobody else's fan base. But I'm gonna tell you what I'm hearing. When you on every platform, you get to hear different perspectives because different platforms have different identities. That's just what it is. Facebook has one identity and it's totally different from X. X is totally different from IG. And all of it's different from TikTok. But you know what's starting to be said in addition to the games are fixed? It's starting to be said that black quarterbacks are being mistreated. Like Jalen Hurts. And that Josh Allen is being propped up. People are starting to point out that Josh Allen doesn't have any expectations to win. I'm like, well, hell, Kevin Stefanski didn't have no expectations to win either. You just got to be white. Cryomani. I think that's what it is. So if Stefanski didn't need to be a winning coach and he got the job in Atlanta, why the hell would the expectation be for Josh Allen to win? Josh Allen stole Lamar Jackson's 4th MVP, or 3rd MVP. And why? And remember, Acho had to change his vote. Don't let him off the hook. Acho changed his vote so that could happen. And he tried to justify it by saying MVP doesn't mean the best. I'm like, have you lost your mind? It means you're the most valuable to your team, but you're not necessarily the best. So y'all admit it. Josh Allen wasn't the best. I didn't even need this season to play out, but look at how it played out. And his coach got fired. And Keon Coleman is being ostracized while Josh Allen is being protected. And all I know about Josh Allen, other than the fact that he married to a half-black woman, is when he came out of high school, he had some anti-black sentiments, and they seem to be latching on to that as if they're recruiting. Stefanski was recruited, right? Nobody else wanted to hire him. And he gets to hire the GM and bring Tommy Reese, who only sees value in Jerry Jeudy when he's failing. No consequences. And there are no consequences for Stefanski or Tommy Reese or Jerry Jeudy or Joel Batonio or Jack Conklin, Cam Robinson and KT Leviston, Canales, 86 and 82, Whitehart and Bates. And number 13, when the Browns were tying up that game, Shedeur going toe-to-toe with Josh Allen. Number 13 takes the ball and throw it to the cameraman. That's not what you practice. If you want to say it was a missed snap, you're supposed to pick up the ball and run. And he did all of that to make sure the Browns did not tie the game with the Bills. That's called fixing and rigging games, and it is a felony offense. There are some orange jumpsuits somewhere. Somebody is going to take the foul. The question is, are you going to be taking the foul? Is the same people going to take the foul for Shedeur Sanders being devalued to 144? Is it going to be the same people to take the foul for the robbery? The same people to take the foul for Shedeur being abused? The negligence at leadership allowing Shedeur to be abused? Or is that all different people? Is it going to spill over into the NCAA and we're going to find out whose idea it was to park Shedeur behind Dan Lanning's quarterback, who's not good? And is it the same people that work to park Shedeur behind Dylan Gabriel in Cleveland? I mean, you're telling on yourself. Dan Lanning again pops up. Why is Jordan Seaton meeting with Dan Lanning in Atlanta after Kevin Stefanski gets the job? But then he ends up at LSU, where Lane Kiffin comes out after all the players are locked in for the year and show his true colors. And it ain't purple and gold. That's what happens when you play yourself. They reveal themselves. Just like Mr. Tenderism. It's the same thing. You're only useful when you're useful. After that, you get discarded. Shedeur turned lemons into lemonade. Yep, he sure did. Sure did. These people are haters, are saying it's just like Bronny James. Yeah, that don't even make sense. It said, that's right. If you don't want him, trade him. Right. Why you holding him hostage? That's why nobody don't want the job. They see you holding him hostage. You could have traded him. They should have traded him after the Panthers game. But no, they want to go ahead on and abuse him. And now they want to hold him hostage because they've been successful at holding Deshaun Watson hostage. What's the difference besides $230 million between Deshaun and Shedeur? 20 million fans. You see how they miscalculate? See, that's a weakness. That's a weakness. See, you think you can do the same thing to all black people. You think you can do the same thing to all black NFL players. You think when you say that black NFL players are dumber than white ones, that black people don't understand that you're saying that black people are dumber than white people. That's exactly what you're saying, which is why you're only firing black GMs. Why you fired Raheem Morris and hired Stefanski, who failed. Why you don't want Shedeur to be drafted in the first round to a team that has never drafted a black quarterback in the first round. It's 2026. It's been over 120 years. Why have you not drafted a black quarterback in the first round? The same reason why you probably have not drafted a black wide receiver or any wide receiver since 2016, because you ain't trying to win when you have a black quarterback. And it's not enough to just not draft one or not trade one, but instead you actually want to acquire one, pick his pockets, and abuse him and dehumanize him as if this is some kind of slave trade happening. But these people make millions, but you can't stand to admit that everything that you said about them is a lie. So you keep the lie going by trying to humiliate them. But instead, you've just exposed yourself. So who's going to take the fall? Yep, Super Bowl boycotts in full effect. Absolutely. Atlanta ownership hiring Stefanski is a slap in the face to Falcons fans because primetime, yep, who put their team on the map when he played? Yep, that hire of Stefanski was definitely disrespectful. Facts. It was personal. It was racist. And it wasn't personal against Coach Prime. It was personal against their black fans. I assume they want to get them a star somewhere with 250 to 500 acres that they got their eye on or they have already purchased. Probably right where their practice facility is. And they want to add on to that. What's that? Smyrna or something like that? Where the houses are $500,000. Now, don't get me wrong. It's high rises around here that start at $1 million in Atlanta, so it ain't nothing to sneeze at. There is money in this town, but the fans are black. Is that why Cleveland moved up the street to Brook Park? Because the people around there are white? A lot of those places in Cleveland where they moved to or where they plan to move to is what? Former sundown towns. Like Strongsville, where only, apparently from what they told us, Shedeur and Myles Garrett were the only two stopped over there. Now, that's just a little weird. How did you manufacture that? And look how they went bonkers over a speeding ticket. But they don't have nothing to say about Stefanski abusing Shedeur. In fact, they tried to get Shedeur to absolve Stefanski and tried to use his words against him. To absolve Stefanski. You ain't Jesus. It said, that's right. I have definitely boycotted everything, NFL, except for the Pro Bowl. Facts. Me too. Yeah, we're not watching that. And I'll tell you right now, we're going to be right here. We're going to be live. I'm going to be watching something else and talking about something else. And if you come to these comments, and I've already said, don't troll because I'm blocking. We don't want to hear about it. We don't want to know about it. We're not interested. They have anti-blackness happening over there. That's their sentiment. That's their goal. And that's in addition to the abuse of Shedeur Sanders and letting it happen and the draft? Hell no. You don't value black people? We're not watching that. They can pay people to make themselves a sacrifice. But what do I need to do that for? I'm not sacrificing my self-worth to watch you play football. They have to pay people to be divided against black people that look like them. You don't pay me. That's why they go along with it, because they get paid to go along with it. But we all got choices. And my choice is I'm boycotting the Super Bowl. I'm not watching that. Is Shedeur going to be there with his uniform on playing, or any other black quarterback that you intentionally eliminated, including Jalen Hurts, by manufacturing chaos in that goddamn locker room? Like you manufactured chaos and divided the locker room in Cleveland. And it's always black people that they use. Jerry Jeudy, A.J. Brown. Who the hell wants to watch that? Nobody wants to watch that. So disrespectful what they did to 12. Absolutely. They're the most pathetic people. I mean, it's just sad. It's just sad. I never watched a Pro Bowl game before, but I'll be locked in this year. Right. And I can't tell you if I've ever, I think when they used to have the regular format, I feel like because it was in Hawaii, you get to see all of the people, you know, like that. So I thought that was great, right? But again, if it's Paramount or CBS, let me look right fast. Let me just look right fast. What network is the NFL coming on? Because if it's CBS, and don't forget, the funds are held up for that stadium because they were trying to use unclaimed money funds, and a judge denied them twice. They wanted $600 million from unclaimed money to build that damn stadium in Cleveland. First of all, you ain't even do nothing to earn that. Secondly, you trying to take money from people that don't know they have money over there. And like the judge said, when they figure it out, they gonna want their money and they can't get it because you got it. Use your own damn money. You a billionaire. Why you want to steal from people that don't know they have money sitting somewhere? And you wonder why it is nobody wants the job. The corruption starts at the top and it's allowed to fester. So who wants to be a part of that? Andrew Berry need to get the hell out of there before he take the fall for all of it. It's on Peacock. I don't think that's NBC. Yeah, definitely not watching that. Okay, so it's not even CBS. So see, it's not even CBS. So it's not like it's somebody behind the scenes telling them, yeah, you gonna need to put Shedeur out there. So no, he earned it. And he had the votes. And since it's fan votes, you can't change the fan vote. And there are people that know. They supposedly use third-party professional services firms, auditing firms like a Deloitte or somebody to count these votes. Is Deloitte really wanting to risk their reputation because of the NFL's racial politics? No, absolutely not. Like, we're not doing that. Hey, Dusty, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? It says Snake Fansky had a Pro Bowler QB on the bench and then tried to bury him on the QB chart, but got right, and he got hired elsewhere. It said they had no ideas he was planted there. It says so when he came out, Shedeur is a giant fact. And understand this, right? They tried to fire Andrew Berry and keep Stefanski and was mad that Andrew Berry did not get fired. They only wanted Andrew Berry to be fired because they didn't want the white man to be fired by himself. I was like, y'all have lost y'all's mind. You have lost your mind. Essentially, Stefanski is a damn DEI high, if we just being honest. He didn't earn that at all. He fell right up into it and replaced a black man. That's the real DEI hire. Since they want to say that DEI means you're given something. No, you had to earn it. And they just do not want to admit. We're not dumb like they said. They just evil. Pure evil. The same evil that fed black babies to alligators. I've said that so many times. This is the same type of evil that scalped black people and took the hair and put it in their cushions. The same people that hunted black people for sport like they were deer. That separated black people. That didn't even want black people to talk amongst themselves. Didn't want them to gather. Don't want them to unite. The same people. It's anti-blackness. It said, I'm not blind. I can see what you did to Shedeur. It's extremely ugly. Right. And they wanted you to see it. And that's the thing. You wanted people to see it and you mad because they holding you accountable. And the owner allowed this and very well could be the person that said, hey, I'm going to need you to do this. Because you damn sure didn't do nothing to stop it. And you definitely seem like you're trying to replace whoever you hire has to be willing to. And that's why nobody wants the job. Because nobody's willing to abuse Shedeur. And Schwartz was hired by Stefanski. "12 is elite. They need to stop playing." Right. It's given he did it all on his back. Yep. It said the NFL is full of it. Facts, Tillman. I'm like, we're not supporting that. It said our nephew, 12 legendary Shedeur Sanders, was the best quarterback in that draft class. And this one. And this one. And all they talked about is this draft class was weak. That's a lie. When Shedeur came out, oh, this draft class is weak. It was weak because there were 3 black quarterbacks at the top. That's why they kept saying it was weak. They knew what they were going to do. And they've been planning it since Jacoby Brissett became the 15th black starting quarterback. And where is he? He was over there behind somebody else. They basically saying the Dylans and non-black people don't have to earn it. And even when black quarterbacks like Shedeur earn it, they still don't get it. And it's okay to abuse them because I cheer for the Falcons. You kiss all of it. All of it. You trying to divide 50 million people about some football that's not even competitive because it's rigged. Shedeur also led in rushing yards 3 consecutive weeks. I believe it because shit, he couldn't stand up and throw the ball because they were setting him up. And they had some kind of code. It's like something would happen and that told everybody else to start. And what did Haslam tell Coach Prime on camera? Let's just say Shedeur has a good game. So it started off with the Wildcats and like a switch, he was able to play it and they still went back to the Wildcats because it was more important to make sure he don't get 500 yards. And they wanted to hang on to a QBR and use that to devalue Shedeur, to say he's not good. They keep manufacturing things. And I hate Andrew Berry took part of that. It's going to come back to bite him. And that's going to be his karma. That's just what it is. You might be doing right now, but you are responsible for this because they use you to lure him in. And Stefanski, no. You out here calling out the Lord's name, talking about, I told you the Lord works in mysterious ways when he show up over there, but you do everything to try to destroy him publicly. Oh, you going to get it. Oh, you going to get it. It said what they did was premeditated. Facts, Ramon. Definitely facts. It said Flores not getting any head coaching love this offseason, right? And the only black people being interviewed is to satisfy the Rooney Rule, which they making a mockery of. Somebody said they need to do away with it. I'm like, don't say they need to do away with it because it's ineffective. Say they need to do away with it because they're making a mockery of it. See, you got to be willing to hold these people accountable because, like, what is that's why it's falling on the fan's shoulder. The analyst's not going to do it. Y'all see the Browns media. You see what that is. You see what's happening in Atlanta. These are paid people to say whatever the agenda is from the team because the team wants to hide its racist hands behind its back. We need y'all to convince the fans to still come on out and not care about Shedeur. Don't you own Home Depot? Because I might need to start going to Lowe's. Everything goes through the owner. That's what I say. It said, yep, everything goes through the owners. It says, since they are extremely racist in Cleveland, it must be. It must be. Instead, you got Cleveland media, a dirtbag organization, trashing players on their own team. I'm like, I have never seen anything like this, to where you were actually trying to destroy your own quarterback. And when the trade deadline came, you brought in an undrafted free agent from Memphis. And you didn't trade Shedeur, who you don't want. So you trying to tell Shedeur, we collecting black quarterbacks like Infinity Stones, because you see Shedeur, what's his name? Deshaun's still over here. He needs to catch on to what the hell is happening or stop pretending like it's not. Unfortunately, he seems to think that maybe possibly football is more important than him, but I don't know him, so I can't say, but he need to catch on quick. Yeah, Mendoza not like that. I'm definitely not watching that draft. Definitely not watching that draft. I wish Colton Hood well. I hope he get in 4 years, get his money, and get the hell out. That's how every last one of them that come this way better get coming out with this mentality. Get in, get the money, and get the hell on. Because you cannot be used to hurt these black quarterbacks, and you should not be. But they will come to you. And it seems like if you're a black receiver, you next on the list. Because it seems to be a virus that's spreading. Seem like they love to lose. I totally agree with that. Yeah, they can't control 12. He get money from everywhere. Facts. And they didn't even want to exploit him for New Jersey. It's more important for them to hold him hostage over there like they did Deshaun. Here's the thing. What's in it for you? Because when you got Deshaun, suddenly you get a stadium. So what's in it for you to hold? I mean, you got a stadium. What else is it you want? It's something that they are going to get because they did this. Because that's the MO. They pushed out Baker, got Deshaun. Then they got the new stadium and the star. Then they got to move. So did you get to move because you took Shedeur and held him hostage? What else you gonna get? Because they needed help to get out of that Art Modell clause that they could take the city's name with them. Because they only paying the city $100 million over 15 years. That ain't good enough. It should have been up front because they make $110 million off the gate per year. So somebody is helping them. Quid pro quo is also illegal. It said the owners think that those billions means that they control. Right. And that's what makes them arrogant. That's exactly what makes them arrogant. Yeah, nobody wants to watch no check down game. Absolutely. And it definitely is an inside job. Absolutely. Definitely that. Get the likes up. Yep, hit the like button for me, please. I'm less than 200 away from 200 away from I think 7,000. So I'm definitely celebrating when we get to 7,000. Definitely celebrating when we get to 7,000. I think that's what it is. Let me see. Oh, I can't see it on here. But I think last I checked, it was like it was less than 200. Less than 200, like maybe 100, maybe 83 or 23, something like that, but less than 200. Hit the like button for me. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. So shout out to Coach Prime. I saw in the video what Bucky was sharing that Shedeur made the Pro Bowl, and then Coach Prime was on the field like with the, I guess when they were doing like the strength and conditioning, he had on his the shoes that he have. He was also lining up against, it looked like the wide receiver coach, but he was in a very good mood. He was in a very, very, very good mood, like a proud dad. So shout out to him. That's good, right? Because you know that's his son. I don't know how Shiloh feel. I hope he's okay. Because you know he should be there too. But you know, I mean, we all got to learn, you know, the situation. You know, I said when you are in a war, the first thing you have to understand is who the enemy is. And I'm pretty sure he knows now. I don't know if he knew before, but he definitely got baited into that situation. So if you think things are changing, you're gonna need to look for Shiloh to show up and look for Shedeur to be respected. And then you hear teams talking about him truthfully and not the media being hired to defame him once again and push a false narrative, especially in Cleveland, right? And when you hear them talking about bringing over, you know, at first it was Dante Moore and he decided to go back to school. Now it's Malik Willis, who faced they played in twice. That's understand they trying to stack 3 black quarterbacks together so they're not a threat separately to be successful. Again, more racism. So I'm out on that. If Shedeur ain't, if the Pro Bowl, that's it. That's it. And you know, Coach Prime and they might be going to the Super Bowl for whatever reason. That's cool, but I'm not watching it. I'm not watching that. I can't tell them what to do. I don't even know why they would go there, but you know, maybe because Shedeur's in the league, I'm not judging that situation. But I know as far as myself and from what I can tell the community that I host, you know, no, we out, we out. So it's Pro Bowl and that's it. So that's it. All right, so we're gonna get ready to get ourselves out of here. It says Shedeur loves the game of football. They all do. I mean, honestly, they all do. I don't think you play the game as long as they did without having passion for it. Right. And I think the problem is they want them to be thirsty for it. So they're willing to have accept anything. And they act like a monopoly, right? Like there's nowhere else to go that's desirable or that is on this level. I'd rather go somewhere that's smaller and be respected as a human being and appreciated for my talents and respected as a black man than to go to somewhere that's all shiny and glitz and glamour with a lot of money and you want me to remove my blackness or you abuse me because I'm black. Like, you got to choose yourself at some point. You got to choose yourself at some point and move accordingly. That's just what it is. Yep. Number 2 is continuing to make history. Absolutely. Shedeur is ahead of his time. That's interesting. Hey, Simply Stephanie, it said now they can stop saying a 5th round pick and put Pro Bowler by his name. Yep, I heard people on X saying that's Pro Bowler to you. So people are now saying, you know, and the fact that they were calling him a 5th round pick without discussing how he got to the 5th round tells you who they protected, who took him off the board. They don't talk about that. How many times have you heard them say what Mel Kiper Jr. said in that the NFL didn't want quarterbacks like Shedeur? How many times have you heard this?
After I had those conversations, I went back and did a little more checking. Right?
Yeah, okay.
Because I had one. Somebody said, "Well, you know, Shedeur's not what really we're kind of looking for. The NFL's really not looking for that kind of quarterback now."
Okay. What do you mean by that?
That caused a little pause for me. He said, "Okay, so what are you saying?"
Excuse me, that kind of quarterback, and what the hell are you talking about? Because you're only firing black GMs. You already trying to fire Andrew Berry, the 3rd black GM to be fired. You fired Raheem Morris and hired Stefanski, and Raheem Morris had a better record. You fired a successful black GM over there. You tanked the season to push out a black GM in Miami, fire a half-black coach, and bench the brown quarterback. Because optics. Right? So what kind of quarterback? Suddenly you let all your anti-blackness hang out. 10 open head coaching jobs and nobody black gets the job. Only black people being interviewed to satisfy the Rooney Rule, which you mock because you don't like diversity. You mock DEI, but you are the DEI hire because you're not qualified. You'd rather lose than win with a black quarterback and then blame his legendary father, Deion Sanders, all to hide your racism because you felt like 17 black quarterbacks at QB1 is too many. And 1st round QBs are inherent QB1. You did all of that in the name of anti-blackness. And you wonder why quarterbacks don't want to come out of school. You wonder why nobody wants the job in Cleveland. You wonder why Atlanta is upset. You wonder why there's a petition with over 40,000 plus signature for the Buffalo fans because you fired their coach, who was a winning coach. And the last thing he did was speak well of Shedeur Sanders. And we saw what happened every time somebody was supportive of Shedeur. They got retaliated against. You ain't doing all of this for no low-level employees. You doing this because the owners took him off the board when they never should have invited him. Because what did Mel Kiper Jr. just say? That the NFL said that they don't want quarterbacks like Shedeur Sanders now. Because 17-32. And apparently 17 black QB1s is too many. So that's why Milroe was pushed down and Shedeur Sanders was pushed down. And that's why 2 white quarterbacks were drafted before them. This is all about racism. And Coach Prime was just a scapegoat. And Shedeur was just number 17 of 32. And the story fit. So I'm going to see y'all next time. We're going to get out of here. Thank y'all for watching. Again, let's see if we can get me the next 200 subs over probably the next few days so I can get to 7,000 and go into February with 7,000. And then we're going to get closer to 10,000. And yes, we will be celebrating. Again, we celebrate all wins around here. We celebrate all wins around here. You know, so I guess I'll see y'all next time. I hope y'all enjoyed the podcast. If you didn't catch the whole thing, please consider catching the replay. And we'll be back. We'll be back tomorrow. Thanks for watching What She Said Sports. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for the engagement. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the subs. Thank you for the hype me up. And thank you for the likes. I appreciate the engagement. Have a good one, everybody. Have a good night.